Good evening, I'm Brian Sanders. Thanks for joining us here at 5. 20 years ago today, President Bill Clinton signed a measure commonly known as Megan's Law. It requires sex offenders to register with authorities and for communities to be notified when a sex offender moves into their neighborhood. 2 Works For You reporter Joe Hinkie joins us with how Green Country law enforcement is keeping a close watch. Joe?
Well, Brian, here on Tulsa Police's website, for example, you can zoom in and see where sex offenders are in your neighborhood. These are details law enforcement tell me they keep a close eye on and update often to keep our neighborhoods as safe as possible. Earlier this month, a new task force in Rogers, Mays, and Craig counties checked in on 250 sex offenders. They arrested 54-year-old Jimmy Weeks. He listed this burned-down church in Foyle as his home. Now Weeks is in jail for failure to comply as a sex offender. District Attorney Matt Ballard says Weeks is an exception in his district.
We found that the vast majority are in compliance with the act. We made 4 arrests during the sweep itself and are looking at an additional 10 or 20 that we're trying to verify are registered and in compliance.
In Tulsa County, Sergeant Randy Chapman and the Sheriff's Office keep tabs on around 96 sex offenders.
And these guys are all guys that either haven't came in, they were delinquent,
including several who they need to keep a closer eye on. With state law not allowing sex offenders to live within 2,000 feet of schools, daycares, or parks, in denser areas complying with the law can be more of a challenge.
They do have some issues because they may give us 4 or 5 addresses before they find one that, we allow them to stay at.
And similar to Rogers County, Chapman says most Tulsa County offenders end up following the law.
The biggest majority of sex offenders are going to, try to stay within the rules and the laws. They don't want to go back. So most of them do comply.
And for Weeks, who court records show molested children in 1983 and 1985 and again in 1999, Ballard says the sex offender registries are necessary.
We know they have one of the highest rates of recidivism, and because of that, it's important to track where they are and know where the offenders are living.
And over the past 20 years since the federal law of Megan's Law took effect, on the local level, technology has advanced. Coming up at 6, I'll let you know how that is making it easier to track sex offenders. Joe Hinkie, 2 Works For You.
Megan's Law was created after 7-year-old Megan Conca was raped and killed in New Jersey back in 1994. A convicted sex offender who lived across the street admitted to the crime. Her parents say they had no idea a predator was living across the street.